Welcome to A Man's Perspective. Today we're going to do things a little bit different. Today Jeremiah is going to be interviewing me. So we're going to see how this works. So Jeremiah?
Hello, my name is Jeremiah, and I think today I want to focus a lot on talking about the title, A Man's Perspective. I want to do what I can today to get a man's perspective on
Okay,
different topics and
cool.
questions I have about society and about everything about
Okay,
life.
cool. That works.
So I think one of the first things I want to ask you is we had a semi-significant age difference. You have
Yeah.
25 years on me around that area. Um, I think a lot of young men today are having a hard time, or just people overall are having a hard time with picking like what they want to do in life or what
Mm.
their purpose is or why they're here. And I heard one guy talk about, he was saying, he was like, we're not going to ever know why we're here, but the people who accept, or the men who accept the fact that we're here for whatever, are the ones who are like the go-getters, the ones who keep going because they accept the fact we're just here. We're here to work hard and to help people, whatever it may be. So I want to know from your perspective,
Mm.
like, for men who are having a hard time thinking about what to do in life, things to, you know, or how to become what they call higher value men, um, what's some things that we can do?
Well, I think one of the first things that we can do is that we can have some idea of why we are here.
Yeah.
We can have a purpose. And I think one of the best purposes to have is to make the people around you better. And who by I want you to who by teaching does not learn. So a lot of times that takes a lot of sacrifice on your part because we're in our current society, because of technology and social media, we're very prone to do things and see things and interact with things in life based on how I feel, based
Right.
on me, based on my perception. I hear so often my truth,
Mhm.
and that's just because that's a more selfish way of thinking.
Right.
So if you have and your purposes don't have to be, everyone always wants to focus on, I want to change the world, I want to, stop whatever, killing fleas or something. Everyone always wants to have these really grand goals in life, these grand purposes in life. But I think if we keep them small
Right.
and keep them on a day-to-day basis, almost where you're just focused on what can I do tomorrow. You're supposed to have short-term and long-term goals.
Yeah, of
So,
course.
but decide for yourself, and through experiences,
Right.
decide for
That's
yourself
a good
what
point.
what makes you feel that sense of joy, that sense of completion, that sense of you've done something.
Right.
So I think have a purpose, and we can. I know it's easy to say because it sounds really like um, euphoric or really zen to say we have no purpose, we're all just here to get along. No, we have a specific purpose for yourself, and that's recognize that that's going to change. You're
Mm.
gonna The way you are now at this age is not going to be how you are in 2 or 3 years.
Right. Yeah.
Even in you yourself, look back in your life. When you look back when you were 15, 16,
Mm.
17, 19, 20, you can look back and say, man, I was kind of,
What an idiot. What a dumb mofo.
yeah.
What was I thinking?
But even me at my age, like I look back 5 years ago and I'm like, dude, I can't believe I used to think that way. What a bag of rocks, man. I can't believe that. So our purposes, our growth is always something that we should be questioning.
Yeah.
So have purpose number one. Find out what that purpose is. So um, start to try different things. Start to,
Right.
you know, we live in a society where everyone's trying to help. Everyone's got a charity. Everyone's got an organization. So go to Skid Row and give food out. Go buy new clothes for yourself or with the general, because most people are your size.
Yeah.
Most men are your size. Go buy clothes for yourself and go give them to someone on the street. Do things that kind of cost you a little bit, either in time or resources, and then you'll realize, wow, this really makes me feel good,
Yeah.
and that's going to spark an idea, which is going to lead to a progression of other ideas.
Right.
So we have purpose, set goals, um, put yourself into uncomfortable positions. That learning through those, overcoming those uncomfortable, and I'm not saying you got to go to Skid Row and try to pick a fight, but
No, right.
but if you're not comfortable doing something, like if you're not comfortable talking to somebody,
Yeah. Then do it. Talk to
yeah,
them.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to. People always say, "Oh, I have to have this full on conversation." So no, start small. Like if you're uncomfortable talking to, like a lot of guys are uncomfortable talking to girls.
That's a big one. Yeah.
Yeah. So go up to a group of girls, just get close to them.
Right.
Just walk up to them, get halfway, and then turn around.
Yeah.
Do that 2 or 3 times. Then the next time, and not the same ones because you don't think you're stalking them or something, but the next time, next week, go up to them, right up into almost their space, look at them, always look at them, never bow, always look at them, and then come back. You don't have to stand there. Just, it's slowly putting yourself into situations where you're uncomfortable. And then by the 3rd week, go up to them, say hi, and then go back. Don't wait for the interaction, because a lot of
Right.
guys, that's where you nut up. Just kind of go say hi and then walk away.
Yeah.
And then go say hi, my name is Jeremiah, and walk away.
Right.
And then the following week, go say hi, my name is, what's your name? If you do that incrementally, you're gonna get good at it. You're gonna conquer your fears. So, and that's what you do with everything. And that's what you do with like phobias too. If you're afraid of snakes, come to a place or go to a pet store where there's a snake in a cage, but stand at the entrance
Right.
and slowly get yourself closer to it. To the point then where you're touching it. With everything, your fear of elevators, your fear of water, just slowly get close and then pull away, get close and then pull away until you're comfortable.
Right.
So have that purpose, have your goals, short-term and long-term, and put dates on them. By next week, I want to be able to say hi to random strangers. In 1 month, I want to have $500 in my account. And but short-term goals and long-term goals. But get rid of this whole grandiose ideas of, I want to save the world, I want to, save the dolphins. Everyone has all these
Grand ideas.
yeah. Like I'm gonna do this great big thing.
Yeah.
But I like that question.
I think that one too. You mentioned purpose, and I think that's one of those things where it's like I guess it can take a long time, or it can be hard to find purpose, because I think a lot of people today are very like, we're comparing ourselves a lot these days. We have easy access to a huge like information platform, Instagram, Facebook, of all these false comparisons. A lot of people,
filters,
it's filters and stuff. And a lot of people see that and think, damn, my life, what if my life isn't as purposeful or as good as that life? What do you think about social media? Do you think it is helping out society? Do you think are the comparisons in a way kind of healthy, because it can make you motivated maybe, or it can, I don't know.
I think social media is fantastic, first of all.
Okay.
I think it's because I can talk to someone in France right now. I can talk to someone in Australia right now.
Yeah.
I can, and hey, even if it's nonsense, like, oh, how's the weather? But you can talk to someone, that instant communication, that instant, like I can, on social media, I can probably find 2 degrees of separation to almost anybody, even 1 degree of separation to like the president, to Putin. Look, like we're talking about that monk that someone knows. So that's 2 degrees to Putin. So that's because of social media, and that's because of all the interaction that happens online now.
Okay.
So first of all, I think it's a fantastic tool,
Right.
but it has to be seen as a tool.
Right.
And a lot of people don't see it as a tool.
Exactly. Yeah,
They see it as a part of
as
them.
the real, yeah.
As a part of them. So you compare yourself to who you were yesterday.
Exactly.
You, not your neighbor, not your best friend, you compare yourself to who you were yesterday.
Yeah.
That's how we're supposed to go. That's how it's supposed to work. But I know it's difficult because you look around or you look not around, because but you look on social media,
Right.
and you're like, how is everybody having such amazing, epic lives?
Yeah.
And but the thing is, like
It's
I know people that went to Southeast Asia 10 years ago, and they're still posting stuff right now. They're
yeah.
gonna like, I'm like, bro, you've been there like 20 times already, dude. He tells me, no, it's from my visit 10 years ago. So that's why you don't compare yourself to social media itself. You compare yourself to who you were the day before.
Right.
And then that's where the goals come in. And okay, I was kind of junky yesterday. How can I be less junky tomorrow?
Yeah.
You know?
That's funny. I mean, do you think like when you were 25 or your mid 20s, did your generation kind of face an obstacle like social media? Do you
Yeah,
think
yeah. Every generation
okay,
has
yeah.
done something. Like I
Right.
remember when I was a kid, acid rain was this. My mom would make us wash the car after rain because acid rain was gonna melt everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was crazy.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, it was crazy. Acid rain.
Acid rain. That's interesting,
Yeah,
man.
and then as I got a little bit older, then it came like the ozone layers going away. We're all gonna die in 10 years because of the ozone layers gone.
Right.
And they would show pictures of like over Australia, there's no more ozone layer here. And
Right.
20, 30 years later, we're still here, you know. So
Yeah.
every generation has its
Dilemmas or its issues
yes,
or
yes.
false comparisons.
Yeah. So
Uh,
you just have to, and then now it's then it was global warming, now it's climate change. So it changes every 10 years or so.
right.
So yeah, every generation has its dilemma. Every generation has its like. I remember when cell phones came out. Cell phones were like
I'm
this.
sure it was revolutionary.
Yeah, yeah, really. Like, oh my
You could have called
god.
people from 2 miles away.
Yeah.
It's a brick-sized phone.
Yeah, I can call someone here from the backyard. You know, it was crazy. It was crazy.
Media, you're saying it's a good thing
Oh,
because
I think it's a
it can
fantastic thing.
connect people on a broad range, right? It
Yeah,
can from here to Australia, here to Europe. Um,
and there's so many business opportunities on
that
it.
too. This our
Yeah,
podcast alone is
yeah,
that's why it's so cool because we have so much reach now, you
yes,
know, and
yes,
hopefully what we're talking about here with psychology, the psychology of men, and what men can get help with will help a lot of people.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
it's a great tool. But does it have like those negative? You think?
Oh yeah, the negative aspects, just like with everything though, just like with water.
Yeah,
Everyone thinks, oh, water's so great for you, but if you drink
too
five
much
gallons
of
of
it,
water in a 24-hour period, what happens? You
you
die.
die. Yeah,
So, and
yeah.
so we have to, just like with everything,
Moderation.
yeah, moderation. You have to use it as a tool. Like you see so much nonsense on there, just people screaming, at the top of their lungs for no reason whatsoever. So there's a lot of nonsense on there, but I think the benefits outweigh the cons,
Yeah.
depending on
Okay.
your age. Because
Okay.
we know, because all the studies for young girls,
Right.
the suicide rates for teenage girls has climbed through the roof since social media came on.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so it's it's been detrimental to certain populations or segments of the population, but I think that's more because the brain is not ready to process so much information.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
yeah, because it's you're inundated with just information.
Yeah. And
Uh,
tons of it, right?
yeah, and just like with everything in life, look at it. If you put too many cars on the freeway, what happens? It backs up.
Traffic. Yeah.
You put too many users on one server, what happens? It crashes. If you put too much information in anything, it ruins it. If you put too much water behind a dam, what happens? It overflows and floods out cities.
Right.
So everything has to be done in moderation. Everything has to be done um, with parameters. So if you're young, you shouldn't spend no more than an hour if you're a
Right.
teenager on social media.
Right.
And the rest of it has to be spent outside in the sun, getting, climbing trees, climbing fences, doing stuff like that. Because that's what your body needs physically.
Right.
That's what hardens your bones. So there are benefits and there are bad things to it, but I think the benefits outweigh the cons.
That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love hearing you say that because a lot of people have a negative stigma towards um, social media platforms, and I think yeah, it can be a bad thing. But like you were saying, I mean, like you're both saying, it can get so much reach,
Yeah,
and that's awesome. How we can access people from all over the world.
yeah.
That's crazy. Um, how about when it comes to dating? Do you think, so in your mid 20s, do you think, I mean, I'm sure it would have changed it a lot, but how impactful do you think Instagram, Facebook would have been in your mid 20s during your like what
I think it
20s?
would have had the same effect that it has now.
Right. Yeah.
Because what 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 online dating has done
Yeah.
has it's made things funneled.
Right.
Like right now, what I see in my friend group, because I work with nothing but dudes.
Yeah.
There's men. My whole life, I've been just surrounded by men. All my jobs have been men, and so I've been able to see the advantages that certain technologies have done, and disadvantages as well. So what I've seen now is that all my really good-looking friends, my friends with charisma, they're like this is from the male perspective. I don't know how the
Right.
female perspective
No.
is, but
Right.
this is from the male perspective. I see them getting all the girls. Like they're just like everyone's flocking to these guys
Right.
because they have so much access, so much reach, like you
Yeah.
just said. And my friends that are maybe less attractive or more out of shape, they're really struggling. They're fighting just like two, three guys are fighting for the attention of one girl. So I think it's funneled everything or grouped everything where the really attractive people are getting all the attention,
Right.
and what I think is going to happen, I think we're going to have a society of men that have two or three girlfriends or wives, and women who because we all there's a scale, right?
Sure.
1 through 10. There are some people that are less attractive and some that are more attractive.
Yeah.
So although if like 10 is the best and 1 is the worst, all the 8, 9s, and 10s
Right.
on both sides, male and or for men, I should say,
Yeah.
for men, they're gonna have 2 or 3 wives, girlfriends, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
But the reverse is also gonna happen. Girls that are on the 1, 2s, and 3s are also gonna have multiple guys, because all the guys that can't get the higher end girls are gonna be going out with the whatever the 1, 2, 3, or 4 girls. And not to say, I don't want to say it makes it sound negative. It's not
No, I
negative.
just think it's so great that you bring this point up, Pops, because this is like I'm having a really hard time accepting this part when it comes to men my age and people my age. It's so funny how if you're looking at, I saw this video of a psychologist talking about how pretty women experience the world vastly different
Oh my God,
than a
yes.
woman who is less attractive. Almost like it's two sep. She was saying almost like it's two different species,
Yeah, yeah.
and that that made me like really just question a lot of things. Like, and the same goes for men.
Yeah,
The
I was
men
about to
who
say,
are the men who are very attractive tend to get a lot more attention and have an
yes.
easier time in life than the men who aren't as attractive. And I want to ask you about this too. What do you think the men who aren't as attractive? What do you think are some things that they can do? Because I think we all have. I don't want to sound cliche, but I think all of us do. We can all offer some kind of value
Yeah,
to someone's
absolutely.
life,
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
we can all offer purpose. And you know, I think you can do things to make yourself more desirable, right? I think even though we all have value, you you can still do stuff to make yourself more eye catching. Hey, like if you work out, you tend to get if you get physically attractive, you get a lot more physical
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
attention, right? So what are some things that the men who aren't as fortunate, what can they do? Because it breaks my heart, Pops.
Well, first we have to understand that it's biology. It's things that were attractive. Like what's a think back 100,000 years ago when we were living in caves or on the savannah.
Okay.
The the attractive fruit is the ones that we went towards.
Hmm.
We didn't go eat the green fruit. We went to eat the red apples, red mangoes, the strawberries, all the bright fruits. And so that's what we went towards. We went towards the water, even water. If water had dead animals in it, you stayed away from it
Right.
because you would die.
Yeah.
So you would want crystal clear springs that you can see the bottom, so that you can see, wow, that's pretty clean water. That's safe to drink.
Right.
So it's biology that we're fighting. So first understand that it's biology that you're
Yeah.
going against or working with.
Yeah. It's in our nature.
Yes, exactly. It's in our nature to want to be around beautiful things,
Right.
because beautiful things make us healthy, clean water.
Yeah, they're fruitful. They nourish
They're,
us. They can,
exactly, they nourish us, they make us stronger. So we want to be around beautiful things, and it's also it's pleasing to look at. You know, we don't. No one likes looking at decomposing bodies.
right.
That's
It
horrible
looks,
to look
yeah,
at.
it's ugly. It's
And
scary.
there's a purpose for that, because you want to stay away from that stuff.
Right.
Because the decomposing body has bacteria,
It can get you
viruses,
sick. Yeah.
worms, parasites. You could die if you too close to that ugly looking decomposing body.
Right.
So this is nature putting things in the species to help us survive. So first understand that this it's a survival tool, and recognize that there's always something that you can do. You can
Right.
increase your mind, increase
Yeah.
your charisma, increase the words that you use, increase your physical fitness. There's always things you can do. Increase your status, increase your financial position.
Right.
There's always something you can do for men. And I'm talking for men, because I don't know. I don't
Understandably. Yeah.
understand. I don't know how women's lives
Yeah.
are. All I can do is just for men. There's always something that you can do. You can always make yourself better at any age.
Amen. Yeah.
You don't have to, at 21, I should be like this. At 26, I should be like that. At
Yes.
46, I should be like that. Always work, like I said, and this goes back to what I said before. Always compare yourself to who you were yesterday and make yourself better.
Yeah.
As long as you're growing, as long as you're taking steps forward, you're gonna feel better about yourself. And as far as like how to help dudes that aren't as successful in the dating world,
Yeah.
I would just you have to bring yourself up, either physically, with your dress, with your status, with your body, with your financial position. You have to bring yourself up. You have to provide or change your standards. There are, you know, we can look out on the street and there are homeless girls that will, as long as you give them food, they'll, take them out on a date. I don't think most people would want to be seen with homeless girls,
Right.
but that shows the level of standards that you can go down to
Right.
or up to,
Right.
like the Penelope Cruises of the world or
Yeah.
something. So change your standards or change yourself. But you gotta do something.
Yeah.
To stay there and say, "Oh, life sucks," blah, 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 blah. It's
That's where it gets dangerous.
yeah,
That's where a
yeah,
lot of men fall into a very dangerous loophole of,
right.
oh, it's the woman's fault.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh, why aren't I getting anything? Well, because you're not doing stuff to make yourself desirable, dude. You're not,
Yeah.
you're
You're not changing your
lazy.
status,
Yeah, you're,
your value.
right, exactly. I don't know, you're not putting yourself into areas where you can meet women, you're not putting yourself in the environment where you can, I don't know.
And that's one of the negative things of technology, of
Right.
social media, because now we can get those. Before, I remember when I was in my 20s, in order to get those dopamine hits, we would have to go out and interact with people. We would have to go out into, as my friend groups, we would always decide the day before, hey, we're gonna meet at Joe's house, or we're gonna meet at 2. You have to go outside and interact to get those dopamine hits.
Yep.
But technology now gives you the same dopamine hits right here in front of your house.
Yeah.
So you're not going out and doing the same things.
Right.
And we know, like, you need the sun, because the sun controls our vitamin D levels, the serotonin levels. So you need to go out. So what's one of the negative things about social media. But again, understand yourself. Understand that there are things you have to do. You have to meet with people. You have to engage with relationships. You can't just say, "Oh, they don't make me happy, so I'm done," or "He made me uncomfortable, so I'm done. I'm not going to talk to that person anymore."
Right.
You can't do that. You got to just keep, even though you're uncomfortable, you got to keep, unless your life is in danger, just keep going. Say, "Hey, dude, I didn't like what you said," or, "Hey, what's up with this?" Just sometimes you have to be a little assertive, a little aggressive.
How important do you think it is for men to, I guess, be assertive, or what's the word I'm looking for? Okay, so do you think it's important for men to be confrontational?
Yes.
Okay, how come?
Yes. I know I've told you this before,
Yeah.
but some of my best friends
Yeah.
are guys that I've gotten into actual physical fights
Oh, I
with.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You see me
Yeah, we hit each other in the face and the ribs, and you know, and they end up becoming some of my best friends.
Why do you think that is? What do you think happens like in the
Because
chemistry of what do you think like what's going on there? Like in the
because
brain, you know?
men were very hierarchical.
Okay.
I mean hierarchies, even in our
Right.
men, in our mind. I mean,
Yeah.
we live by hierarchies, um, and that's something that's not bad. That's not. It's just in us. That's how we get stuff done. Because as men, when we get together, we recognize, oh, hey, you're probably pretty good at laying bricks. So look at your hands. You're probably pretty good at um, catching this, or look at your body. You're probably good at this. You're really good. So we set up hierarchies right away.
Right.
A hierarchy does not mean that there's an oppressor or oppressee. You know, it just means that you're setting up strengths, or you're setting up systems where your strengths are beneficial to that system. That's what hierarchies are for. Um, so, in that being confrontational, you learn yourself what you're capable of.
Yeah.
If you constantly shy away from stuff and never engage other people in either through verbal communication or physical communication,
Right.
then you're never going to know what you're capable of. And
Great point.
and that's what you need to know, what you're
Exactly.
capable of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Men don't realize the tremendous violence that we can engage in, that we can do. Like, our bodies are designed for crushing and killing and choking. You know, we have different hips than women. We have different muscle fibers. We have more fast twitch muscle fibers. So our bodies are different, and we don't. Once you recognize how dangerous you can be, now you can make real change.
Right.
Now you don't have to question yourself. Like, if you see somebody, like if you see someone, like you run into Bruce Lee, you can say like, oh man, okay, I know I'm not that. So, yeah. But if you've never been confrontational, you're never going to know if you can be a Bruce Lee.
Right.
So, but if you have been confrontational, you know, oh man, I'm not Chuck Norris or Bruce Lee. You know, I'm gonna stay away from
Yeah.
that, and I'm gonna submit to what their order or whatever is going on.
Right.
So you have to know yourself, and the best way to know yourself is through the experiences,
Yep.
the good and the bad, the confrontational and the non-confrontational.
Yeah.
Because you're never gonna know how much violence you can commit or how much love you're able to give. I think those two are inverse. I think you need to know your violence capacity, and that will in turn show you your empathy, your love capacity. That's what I think.
Beautiful. Damn. About to cry.
Yeah.
That's put very well. I mean, because I think a lot of people are having a hard time doing that today, confronting, only because on social media it makes it so easy to, just like talk shit.
Yeah, you can just bash people with no real connect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like once you're actually there, it's a lot different.
Yeah, it's to tell someone in front of you, I'm gonna punch you in the face.
Exactly.
And online, I'm gonna punch you in the face if I see you. Well, you're 1,000 miles away. There's no way you're gonna punch me in the face. So, yeah, it's significantly different. So, yeah, we need to push our limits. We need to, and I don't want to say that we should start killing people or
Right.
but you do have to incrementally push yourself. Try to be assertive with this person just a little bit, and then the next week with another person just a little bit more. I'm not saying you got to go and punch people in the face, but just be assertive. Learn to say no.
Right.
Yeah, learn
That's
to
a
say
big
no.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
It's
a
hard
big.
saying no sometimes.
Yeah, because it's in our nature. Because remember, we want to cooperate with everybody.
Right.
That's
that means survivability. We're gonna survive,
Yes.
right?
That cooperation is what's put us as the top predator on the planet.
Right.
So the best way to cooperate with people is to make them happy.
Yeah.
If you don't because if they're happy, then they want to engage with you more.
Right.
But if all you do is say yes, 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 then you're never going to be respected.
Yeah.
They're never going to count on you. They're not going to see you as their equal.
Right.
So you have to learn to say no.
Yeah.
And that's a difficult one, but because inherently inside of us, we don't want to,
Right.
because we know if we say no, it's going to push them away.
Right.
So you have to learn to say no. You have to learn to be confrontational incrementally. So more technical difficulties.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
For the third time.
Yeah. Hopefully the last.
Third time's the charm.
Yeah, we're gonna get our stuff together one of these days. Maybe in like 30 years we'll get this together.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So we're talking about what are we talking about?
beats me, pops. I do want to close with something I want to talk about though before we end the episode. So do you think? I know we've talked a lot about how you grew up.
Mhm.
And I think it's very impressive to me knowing how you grew up and seeing what you've accomplished. Do you think, um, because how you grew up, it helped you accomplish what you've accomplished?
That question is, I would say absolutely. First of all, absolutely.
Awesome.
But the rate of growth could have been different had I had a different upbringing.
Yeah.
But I believe that, because as you know, we were brought up with a lot of abuse, a lot of physical abuse, and but that tough. As soon as I saw it differently, because when I saw it as trauma, that's when it was very difficult for me to do things. That's when it was very difficult for me to get things done because I was blaming a failure on my past. I was blaming that I couldn't do stuff. Oh, because I was beaten so much, or because I was so fearful. Because in high school, I hated myself. I couldn't even look at a picture of myself. Even to comb my hair, I just focused on my hair. I would never look at my face. I hated myself. But once I learned to see it as training, as something that I could use to, because there are people that cannot go through what I've been through and come out okay at the end. There are people, and just like the generation before me, they've been through even more, man. When you talk to those people, like their trauma or their life has been like hellish, like literally hellish. I talked to my grandmother, your great grandmother, and
Right.
her life was, I can't even imagine
I
the
mean,
horrible things.
their parents were like World War II era, right? Like 1940s.
Yeah,
So
yeah. They're the Great Depression people, so it was. But the things that you've been through in your past
right.
forge who you are as a person.
Yeah.
They help you to, like now, I've never been afraid of people. I've never been afraid of a fight. I've never been afraid to be confrontation. But that's because of the way I was brought up. I was brought up constantly being beaten, like literally beaten every single day by a grown ass man. Even to the point where, like, I'm thinking back now, I'm certain I had my ribs broken because I was going to school for like 2 months and I could not take a deep breath. I was going to school gripping myself like this and taking shallow breaths. I wasn't participating in recess or PE because I I didn't know why. I just knew that
Right.
taking a deep breath hurt. Knowing what I know now, that's a symptom of broken ribs. I'm sure if I take an X-ray of my ribs, there's going to be some healed fractures there. But because of that upbringing, I've never been afraid of people. I've had guys point guns at me. And it upset me that this man is pointing a gun at me, and I ran towards him, and him seeing that, because I could see in his eyes, he's like, "Oh my God, this dude's running at me," and I could see the fear overcome him, and then him take off running, and he's the dude with the gun.
Yeah.
So I've that upbringing, I believe, prepared me for what I was going to do as an adult, for what the issues I was going to have to confront. So that upbringing, that violent bringing, I did not fear other people. I still don't fear other men, and maybe to my own detriment. But I don't fear. I feel a lot. I have a lot of fear because I fear ghosts. I fear heights right now.
Right.
But I don't fear men. Most men, I can look and see where their weaknesses are and how to take advantage of it. So yeah, that my upbringing and the violence that I had got me ready for. But again, I don't want to say like it was a great thing. Everybody should be get beaten. No,
No, right.
but it did prepare me. And but I think if someone would have taught me, hey, what you went through, it's for training. It's not for trauma. It's
Right.
not to hurt you. It's not to, even though at the time it feels like it made me hate myself, but you don't have to hate yourself. You can still, you're still a valuable, worthy human being. And if someone had told me that at 18, when my own violence, you know, I was fighting a lot with everybody. I was just fist fighting everybody I could fist fight. So if someone would have told me that, I could have used that energy for some kind of productive growth.
So once you changed like the victim mindset to I
Yeah.
hate myself to F all this to training, this is
Mhm.
going to prepare me for the future, everything changed for you?
Oh, absolutely. Even my relationships with like my mom,
Mm.
with the relationship with my mom was always really, you know, like most Latin people, the moms play a big role to the point where they're oppressive. You know, they give you anxiety. Moms give you anxiety. Just, you know, they're when you think I'm gonna go see my mom, you're like, oh God, you know. So and I'm sure other cultures are the same way, but
Right,
I can talk about is our Latin culture.
right.
In our Latin culture, moms are very oppressive because they're so overprotective.
Yeah.
They want to protect you, and they don't realize that they're being oppressive. They think they're being protective, but they don't realize that it's actually hurting you. So me recognizing that my life is training and not trauma helped all my relationships with my mom. And I was able to tell my mom, hey, mom, you can't do that.
Yeah.
If you want me in your life, you need to respect these borders. And all of a sudden, me and my mom became friends. I saw my mom as a human being and not this demigod, not mother, not, you know, the Virgin Guadalupe. I saw my mom as an actual human being with strengths and weaknesses. And we were able to talk in such a way where we had really productive conversations.
Yeah.
So it changed the way I see other people. It changed the way I behaved with other people. So yeah, getting rid of that victim mindset changed everything. Changed everything, and that's where actually, we're poor. You know, we grew up on welfare. There was nights where we didn't have any food. You know, I remember having bread with beans on top, a piece of bread with beans on top, and that was and milk. That was dinner. So we grew up very, very poor.
That's
And
the gourmet hood meal.
yeah, yeah.
Meats on bread, baby. Got Wonder Bread too. That's
That's a
nice
little, hey, throw it up bologna. That shit was a feast. Dude. It was a feast.
That's awesome.
So, you know, we grew up poor, but had someone given me some guidance, I think it would have changed everything for me. I think my growth to success, and I don't want to sound like I'm wealthy or anything, but I do feel successful.
Yeah.
I do feel that I've accomplished a lot of my goals.
Right.
That if someone would have told me that, I think that path would have been faster. Instead of recognizing it later in life, I would have recognized how to do it in my 20s instead of my, you know, later in life.
I'm happy you say that because I want to thank you. I think this is a good place to end on, Pops.
Oh,
I mean,
thank you.
you've what you're doing here. I think is going to have a lot of reach,
I hope
and
so.
and it's going to help a lot of people.
I hope so. I hope
So
so. That's my goal.
I know.
I want to, like I've told you before, our purpose in life is to share what we've learned.
Right.
And we can either share it on one-on-one basis, and we're supposed to do that, or
Right.
we can find ways to share it with groups of people.
Yeah.
And this is the new technology is the way to share my experiences with groups of people.
Right.
So I want to tell everybody that they're worth it, especially men. You're worth it and you're needed. You're absolutely needed. We cannot have this society without men. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. We need men in this society. We need masculine, confident, worthy men. So if I can get that through, I think I've met my purpose, one of my goals.
It's awesome, Pops.
Thank you. Hey, thank you. That was a good interview.
Hopefully, you guys liked the interviewing the man episode. It was fun. This guy's smart, man.
Hey, if you have
Know
any
what you guys think?
questions,
Yeah.
if you have any questions, put them in the comments, and me or one of my guests will try to answer them. Please like and subscribe, and see you on the next one.
Yeah.